Can you see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Looks like people are connecting.
Great. And we'll give it another minute here, and we'll go ahead and get started here in about another minute.
While we're waiting, if anybody who's already in, can you just put in the chat, the public chat, whether or not you can see and hear us? Just so we know. What's up, guys? That's good. So it sounds like people can hear us.
Great. Good. And Vinny, you can keep an eye on chat. That'd be awesome. Or Anthony, Vinny.
What's that?
I said, if you can keep an eye on chat, Anthony, because I can't see it.
Sure. Brian, what's up, Brian? He asked a question. This is to Jimmy. Is Loan Sifter the only pricing engine you integrate with? We use Arrive for LOS and pricing.
Sure. So we integrate with 5. So we have Optimal Blue, Mortec, Lender Price, Poly, and Loan Sifter.
And I believe, Brian, that Arrive, do they embed Lender Price, or do they have that? Maybe they have their own. I might be thinking of a different one.
Cool. We'll go ahead and get started. It's 2:01. My name is Jimmy King, and I am on the BankingBridge side. And we also have Anthony with Vonk Digital. Anthony and I have worked together on really website, kind of naturally started working together maybe a year or two ago with a couple of mutual customers. Yep. And we thought it would be a really good topic for a webinar to talk about how small to mid-sized mortgage lenders, banks, credit unions can start to think about displaying rates in their website. What does that lead to? What's the benefit to that? What's the downside to that? And talking a little bit about Anthony's background is they have over 800 mortgage websites out there, which he can see data on all kinds of information. He gets feedback from small lenders to large lenders, and his knowledge is going to be, to me, is probably as good as anybody out there that's on the digital marketing side. So you can see his bio. He was started an online mortgage company in San Diego area, Southern California, sold it, and then he and his brother started Vonk Digital, and now he's growing that to over 800 mortgage websites. And then on the BankingBridge side, we've been around for a number of years and really focused on improving how small to mid-sized mortgage lenders and banks and credit unions can display rates into their website. So this webinar is all about what are the industry giants doing out there? What are the trends that we're seeing here in 2023? And just overall, what you can do on your website to think about, displaying rates. What other tools can you utilize inside of your website? Anything else you want to add there, Anthony?
No, I mean, I think the whole point of this specific slide is just so anybody who doesn't know us, and I see some Vonk clients in here already, but anyone who doesn't know us, just to make it clear that we have a very unique perspective into the industry, both as operators and now as vendors. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. We'll try to
Great.
plow through, and then maybe at the end, if there's questions, to make it a little bit more two-way, people can just pump them into the chat, and we'll try to get to as many as we can, being cognizant that everyone's busy and try not to take up too much time today. All right, so just to kick it off, I think one of the biggest things I've seen over the course of my brokering origination side and at Vonk Digital is kind of the shift in how people use the internet. When I started my company, we were, I don't know, I would say one of the early adopters of online and rate display and generating business through the web. And at the time, that was almost like weird. Like even our investors that we would try to get approved with had a problem with us being a quote unquote internet lender. But over the years, over the last decade and a half, that shift has almost completely flipped itself on its head in what we see. And it's almost gotten to the point where if you're not online and you're just a physical company, that's become a little weird, so there's been more of I call it a transfer of authority from the real world onto the web. And just to pile on that, like the way people use the internet now, this is not specific to mortgage either. And some of you guys might have heard me talk about this before, but in the past, or the way people are using it now, I think it's just been a trained muscle now between, how we order cabs through Uber, or how we buy all our products, or how we search for our information. Like the world just uses the internet for more of that self-discovery. Like, so if I were to, Jimmy, if someone were to refer me to you, you were an originator, more often than not, the first thing I'm going to do is be like, yep, even if it's a friend of mine, yep, thanks for the info. I mean, this just happened to me with solar. A friend of mine referred me. First thing I did is I go online, I look them up, I look at their reviews and a couple other things, their website. And I as a consumer, I'm putting more weight into what I can find out on my own versus what someone else is going to tell me. And so I think that's really the main shift. I did a whole thing on it's called pre-framing. It's like, so if we buy into the fact that people are using the web for self-discovery, what can we do to aid in that? And the next slide, don't go there yet. I'm going to talk about some of the things we're seeing. Go back for one more second. Yeah. But I think that if you look at the normal sales process, and I wrote this down. It used to be awareness, meaning someone finds out who you are, right? And then discovery, which was done either in a call, in-person meeting, maybe you meet at a coffee shop, meet at a realtor's office, however you actually got together with that person. And then from there, people would kind of make the decision, okay, is this a good fit for me? Do I feel comfortable with them? And then that would turn into a conversion, if we call it conversion for today, an application, right? Well, now just to wrap up the self-discovery, you may not even get the chance to like sell yourself or build rapport with people if they're turned off at that point of self-discovery. So I believe the new process is awareness, meaning they find out who you are, self-discovery, and then it's either, nope, this isn't for me, or they decide to move forward. But you don't even really have an opportunity in the real world to influence that a lot of times. So hopefully that makes sense. Let's jump to the next slide. Okay. So again, if you buy into that, I guess the next question would be like, what do we do about it, right? And I'm big on this term, point of research. Everyone talks about the point of sale, but to me, the point of sale, nobody gets to the point of sale unless they've already kind of pre-approved you, so to speak. And that all happens at the point of research, which again, if you buy into the self-discovery concept, that all really is happening online. So for our clients and for everybody out there, there's a bunch of things you can do to turn your website essentially into a digital job interview. Meaning, like, and what does that mean? Like, how can somebody come to your site and have it be engaging? Can they get the information they need? Can they get the social proof? So just to like blow through this list, rates, which Jimmy's going to go into more in a second, is great. Do they want to do some of their own payment calculations? Do they need to learn more? Is there more information? Can you show that you do business and you have happy clients? Can they meet you? Video, I can't tell you the power of like how much you can multiply your efforts just with a simple video explaining who you are, why you do what you do, maybe how the process works, just to kind of start that relationship with somebody. And then of course there's all the other technical pieces. Is can they get a hold of you easily? If you can do that with lead forms or a booking calendar. Maybe there's some things that you want to put on the site that you've created elsewhere that's just more of an easy way to capture their information, whether it's a home buyer's guide or private access to a video where you explain, how to read some of the loan docs, whatever it is that you believe will be compelling and interesting. There's ways to turn that almost into like lead gen strategies as well. But for the purpose of today, all those could be a half-hour conversation. But today we're talking about rates. So, Jimmy, why don't we jump right into that?
Sure. Thanks, Anthony. So again, getting into the rate side of things is kind of what on the BankingBridge side, what we do, helping rates. You integrate your rates from your pricing engine into your website, generate higher quality leads. But kind of talking about the trend that we see out there with the industry giants. So the reason we talk about the industry giants is because most of these companies, your customers are probably either going to interact with in some way or somehow. They bank with them, their mother banks with them, their brother banks with them. So you just to be aware of what these groups are doing, your competition, so that you can position your brand differently. I think one of the things that Anthony just talked about with video, industry giants have trouble personalizing videos on their website. It's got to be very general. One thing I think that a lot of our customers have the advantage of is getting down personal. Here's who's going to be helping you with the loan. Here's your loan officer. Here's what he's interested in. So differentiating yourself on a personal level in your website is important. But every single one of these lenders now have rates on their website. We're going to check that out here at the end of the slide deck and kind of show you how they're doing that. Then you talk about Google. It's so easy to shop for a mortgage rate online. And if you put in mortgage rates, you get 500 plus million results. Google has all these cool interactive tools. I think the biggest thing that we see is the consumer just wants to know that your rates are competitive. So if you don't have very competitive rates, that's a different type of conversation. But if you feel like your rates are competitive in your market, then you need to think about putting them on your site. It's too easy to find rates. The secret is out. And what we find is the consumer will hit a mortgage website, just like if they're going to shop for jeans or a new t-shirt. If they have the product of the t-shirt there, but the price says call us now, nobody's going to do that. And mortgage is becoming that way. So you have a 30-year fixed product. The person can't personalize it. Think about, I need an XL versus a large. I need a 30-year fixed or a 15. Can they look at those types of options? Keeps your website much more sticky, keeps people coming back to your website as well. And then that trust and transparency, the earlier you can build that between you and somebody that has no idea who you are is important. And then you have all these ad platforms that are out there, BankRate, NerdWallet, LendingTree, spending billions of dollars on advertising. So they're always going to be ranked 1, 2, 3, 4 when people are searching these keywords. And that's what the purpose of these slides is to show you, you're not going to outspend BankRate. You're not going to outspend Quicken Loans. How can you position yourself to be similar to those guys when people come into your world, when they do visit your website, when they do see your rates? Most of the time, you're probably more competitive than the industry giants when it comes to rates. So that's always something to think about as well. And these companies exist, BankRate, LendingTree, NerdWallet, to have more people in their orbit, to get more people to their website. So they're going to be advertising all over the internet, all over Gmail, all over social media to get in-market people to their website. So the chances of your existing customers already shopping your rates, even if you don't have rates on your website, are very high because of the amount of influence that these groups have in the mortgage world. And then you've got the consumer preference.
Jimmy,
Think
can
about
I, Jimmy,
yep,
can I jump in? Can you go back there for 1 second?
sure.
So again, just to take the 30,000 foot view of many different strategies that people have around the country, like this is a perfect example. Like the way you get attention to you and your business is all over the map. And some of the we see, some of the more successful or standout people we see right now are ones that are creating a lot of educational content on their, on TikTok, on Instagram, or whatever, on YouTube, whatever platforms they're on. But they're also people teaching in-person events or live events. There's people, there's more and more podcasts popping up now. So there's tons of different ways to get the attention to you and your company and start building a relationship. And so it's not like you just got to go out and spend money on ads. I wouldn't suggest that for most people because of the competitive nature of that landscape. That there's so many other ways to get people into your world, and then it's really up to you to decide like how engaging and how compelling do you want to make that experience when they get there. So all the stuff we talked about before, plus that rate, the ability to get some pricing at least up front, track the pricing, I think becomes very relevant regardless of how you get your business or how you get your opportunities, let's say. Sorry.
Sure, that's great points. And then we go back to the consumer. So if everybody that's on the webinar, you think about the most recent thing that you purchased on Amazon or wherever you purchase your favorite online brand. I have a shoe company that I love, and they make it so. Again, they make it so easy to they use Shopify, of course, and everything is so much easier when you are shopping online now to make that decision, to be educated. Again, talking about humanizing with video, separating yourself from the competition that way, introducing your leadership or your loan officers in a nice personalized message. But the key thing from a website perspective is your highest quality leads. All of our customers where we're really focused on website lead gen is those are they're the highest quality, and they're typically they could be your cheapest, they could be organic, so they're the most important versus if you're buying leads from a third party, they're not going to be as high quality as the ones on your website. And websites need something of value. So what's going to keep them coming back? Rates is a great way to do that. It's the thing that constantly changes. So it's always fresh content. Fed lowers the quarter point. That doesn't mean anything for mortgage rates, but it drives people to a lender's website. And then your time on page is going to improve. So that's your chances of converting that person if you have rates versus if you do not. So the consumers, their preference is to have product and price on the same page. So Anthony, I was going to take a look at some data, kind of go to show a couple live websites and hop out of the slide deck. Do you want to are there any questions at this point?
If anybody has any questions, just pump them into the chat. We can try to address them while you're doing that real quick. When we look at your live pricing results, there's a way to sign up for like rate tracking, correct?
That's right. Yep.
So if I take a step back, just as a former mortgage company owner, and especially now someone that markets my own business and generates leads for my own company, like sometimes the lead isn't the loan, right? It's like that's not a today thing. You guys aren't selling beach balls where it's just a quick e-commerce sale. Like just getting people here to sign up for that, just to get updated market rates, I think would be a strategy I would use. It's like get them to the rates, they can see what's going on, wrapped around everything else about you and your brand, whether that's your personal brand or the company. But a great compelling call to action is to sign up for that rate watch or whatever you call it. Maybe you can show us that, Jimmy.
Yep. Very true. And there's lots of different ways to display rates. You can make them interactive. You can make them more make it more static. So let's look at kind of the big four out there. We always hear, well, I don't want to display my rates because Bank of America doesn't display rates, or this group doesn't display rates. But as you can see, Bank of America has a page dedicated to mortgage rates. Is it interactive? Somewhat. You can change up your price. You can get some different products. But the key thing is Bank of America gets millions and millions of page views, probably a month on this one page, and they are displaying rates. So again, the competition's doing it. JP Morgan Chase. So this is their rates website here with a rates page, zip code. You plug that in. You're able to view rates in some form or fashion. So think about how much more sticky this page is here. You're going to sit on this page maybe 30 more seconds, 45 more seconds, versus if there were no rates. What would you put there? Call us, fill this contact form out. We'll call you back. Nobody's going to do that. And well, people are, but not as many. Wells Fargo, so more of a format, just like Bank of America and Wells, Bank of America and JP Morgan. They have their purchase refinance rates right there on their website as well. And then credit unions, they're big players in the mortgage space now. Navy Fed does a bunch of just general business in general. They have their products and rates right there available on their website. So I wanted to take this moment to kind of walk through a website and talk about the 3 to 4 things that really every mortgage company, every digital marketer, CMO can do in their website today or this quarter to improve things. Maybe you do need a new website. Sometimes all you need to do is add a few things, calls to action inside your existing website. One thing is reviews. So making sure Vonk has an awesome, they have the Google My Business integration. They have a couple reviews integrations. Social proof is very important to have those reviews in your website, whether it's experience.com or whatever service that you're using, making sure that people can find your reviews very easily. But we're going to look at Homefinity. They have a couple of different calls to action. So they have the purchase a home, refinance your home buttons. They have a today's rates button here. And then they have these rate cards in their homepage. And we're going to look at their conversion data. So this is a conversion data studio dashboard that connects to that website. So this is 30 days of lead data. So they have a net of 313 leads. They have 55 duplicates, so a total of 368 over that 30-day period. And we're going to focus on parent URL. So the lion's share of all of their leads come from 3 pages on their website. A third, and a third almost. It's funny, the homepage doesn't have as many leads as this page, so we're going to walk through that. So the first one is rate quote. So where is rate quote? If we visit their page, people are scrolling down just past the fold to the rate section. They click on personalize my rate, and it takes them to this page here. And then on this page, this is where the conversion happens, is utilizing a lead workflow progressive form. This is BankingBridge, but it could be, maybe it's a form you've built, having that progressive form where you can go through and get a customized rate quote. So this page converted 110 leads over the last 30 days. So it's important, it's kind of interesting to see how rates drive, the rates that show up here drive that conversion. So that's a key thing about mortgage rates. Hopefully these load, but it's a static rate. So it's not, you're not even asking them to change. It's more of what Bank of America and Chase is doing. So then we move to the second one, which is the home page. So Homefinity, which would be these 2 buttons here. So someone clicking on that set of buttons, they're asking these questions. Again, getting people through a top of the funnel conversion tool. They're not asking for socials. We're not asking for date of birth. It's just, hey, put in some information, give us your first name, last name, phone, and email, and we will show you live rates. So there's that trade-off that this lender's willing to make, and their lead conversion is very good. And then the last one is your mortgage rate. So / mortgage rates, that did 92 leads. So if we look at where that is today's rates. So you have consumers hitting the site, they see that button, today's rate. So that's a great call to action to have in your header. It could be a small button, it could say rates, but think about having a button in your header, or at least something in your header that says today's rates. And then you're able to drive people to an interactive rate table where the consumer can really drill down to their specifics about a product and look at live rates. They can check out your fees. So much more interactive. It's going to keep people on the page. And maybe you don't convert them on the first time. Maybe it takes 3 or 4 times for them to come back to your site. But your chances greatly increase when you have this. And then we'll wrap it up here and hit some questions. Let's talk about lead quality. So here's a lender that spends a good amount of money on online marketing. Therefore, you think lead quality is going to be poor. So this tells you the average credit score of their leads for those 300 something leads, purchase refi percentages. So 90, this is probably everybody's business right now, is 95% purchase, and then where those leads are coming from. So, that's the takeaway for this section. Anthony, anything you would like to add to this?
Wait, can you go back to what I asked before? Maybe I just missed it, but where does somebody sign up? Because again, I picture myself looking at mortgage rates and then not being quite ready, but it's like, if I want to track and there we go.
So they can subscribe to rates. They're able to fill this form out that enrolls this subscriber into a nurture campaign that goes out twice a week that keeps them up to date with market rates.
Yep. So that to me, just as like a third party, is along the same lines. It's like home value and rates, right? So like, we display HomeBot for a lot of our clients too, and that's more home value based and rates. Like between the two of them, they're like great. You're going to see really high engagement on an ongoing basis with both of those. Mm-hmm. There are a couple of questions. Sylvia asked, how does BankingBridge assure that the rates displayed are specific to the particular broker? For example, she has access to special pricing with certain lenders. So I guess the concern is her rates may be more competitive than other people with the same investor. I think it's a great question. I think there is an exact solve for it, but I'll let you explain that, Jimmy.
Yeah, thanks. So we integrate with 5 different pricing engines on the BankingBridge side. So that is Optimal Blue, the full product and pricing, Poly, Lender Price, Mortec, and Loan Sifter. So if you're a broker or you're a bank or you're a credit union and you're using one of those pricing engines, we integrate directly with them. So we're going to pull out your margins, whatever margins, markups, fees, APR, everything that you have built into those systems. And then that's what we use to display rates. It's all best execution. So it should be the exact same rate that if a loan officer priced out manually, it should be what we show on your rate display. So you could, if you're using Loan Sifter, if you're a broker and you're using Loan Sifter, you can go into Loan Sifter today, go into there's a subscription section on the left side, and you'll see BankingBridge, and you can actually turn this on right there and that sends us your rate data. There's a couple other steps that are involved, but that's the first step. And
just this might be me just saying the exact same thing you just said. So if it is, I apologize. But just to clarify, if you whatever their comp is, whatever their overlays, whatever their base pricing is, all combined is going to come direct from their pricing, from your pricing engine, so to speak. So okay, she's got it. But yeah, so it's 1-to-1. It's not general pricing. That's I think a huge benefit. You don't want to. Yep. We used to go up against companies that displayed rates that were general, and we had a pricing engine feed into ours, and we would win so much business just in the fact that ours, what they saw is what they got, versus like, wait a minute, now I have to do this other stuff and it's going to be different. So I think that accuracy is very important, especially at the point of sale experience with the borrower. Awesome. Thanks for that, Jimmy. One other question that's in here is, Gerald, you may have to re-clarify. Do you have any examples or any options for lower credit score ranges? I'm going to assume that means, can you price lower credit scores?
Yeah, you can price lower credit scores. We support FHA, VA options. Right now, it's all pretty much standard products. So all your govies, all of your jumbo, high balance, conforming, but we don't support non-QM things. So it's mainly for those products. So hopefully it's 80-90% of your business.
So he clarified, said all I see is 660 plus options. That may just be in the example that you showed. I would imagine it's going to pull whatever you offer in your normal pricing scenarios, right? If your company allows you to price down to 500, they can get pricing
right
down there.
Yeah. So we send exactly what the borrower sends in, whether it's on the rate table or the questionnaire. We have a question in the workflow where what is your credit score, estimated credit score? And if they put in 560, we send that with the pricing request to the pricing engine. And if no rates return, then they don't get to see rates. So it's all about what you have available as investors in your pricing engine.
Got it. Cool. That answered that. We are already past our half-hour slot, but if there's any last questions, feel free to ask them now. Again, just to wrap it up, the takeaways are, what changed with the way people are behaving with the internet. Use your website as that digital job interview and to make it engaging, and understanding that if the whole point and people are interacting with you through that self-discovery process, the more and more things you can do to maximize, reaching everybody the way they learn and the way they get information. I used to tell the story. I had an old business partner with my mortgage company. If you put something in front of him with words, forget it. He's not going to read it. If you put a video in front of it, all day long, so everybody consumes information differently. Some people want to look at rates. Some people want to look at videos. Some people want to read every word of your background. Like, combining that all together, I think you really maximize your ability to start building that relationship. Hold on. There's a couple more things in here. How do I get started? There you go.
All right.
Well, so just to touch on that, Jimmy, everybody's going to get a recording of this. Maybe we could send some links to both BankingBridge and Vonk, depending on which way they go. Like, obviously, I can just see in here that there's some existing clients of ours that obviously don't need more information about our websites, and I'm sure there may be some BankingBridge folks or people that use none of us that want information. So I don't know if in that follow-up there's a way to send out just links to more information as well.
Sure. Yeah. We'll put it in there. And then you can also go to Vonk Digital's website and bankingbridge.com and request a demo, schedule some time, whatever works for you. And we're happy to kind of take it, drill down to your specific website, what you have going on, what your needs are, and schedule there as well.
And then just to speak to like the mutual, so say somebody is using Vonk for a website and BankingBridge for their pricing piece, all that, the setup and making sure it displays seamlessly on the site. Like, we already do that for a bunch of clients, so that's handled between Vonk and BankingBridge. There is no heavy lifting on your end per se.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, anything else to add, Jimmy? If not,
no, great.
People get
Thanks
back.
For joining. Appreciate everybody for hopping in, and hopefully this was informative.
Thank you, everybody. Yeah, a bunch of people saying bye and thank you. Awesome.
All right.
Thanks, Jimmy. Appreciate the time today.
Yeah, buddy. Thanks, Anthony. See you.